greetings! It is I, Tempest Van Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the history of Magic the Gathering, where I go set by set, product release by product release, everything that Wizards of the Coast has put out over the years that contains, of course, Magic cards for you to purchase and gain. I'm go over some of the basic history, important keywords, and mechanics that were introduced, and various cards you might want to know about for your Magic the Gathering games as the game has evolved over the years. So today for you, I have the second in the From the Vault series. From the Vault, Exiled. So this was released on August 28th, 2009, and it had a base price of $35. Now, the set itself contained 15 cards, all of which, at some point in Magic the Gathering's history, whether still truthful or if it's changed, these cards were banned or restricted. They might still be banned or restricted, but at some point at least they were. The cards, of course, are printed in black border in the post-8th edition format of cards with a foil finish. 8 of the cards actually have new art to them, including Berserk, so that's some older cards with upgraded art. It also contains a specialty spin-down life counter that was changed from the other ones. This one, the 20, is represented by, of course, the expansion symbol. So a little bit of change in the way that at least here, a little bit of evolution in the spin-down life counters as they're included. Alright, let's talk about the cards from this set. Of course, we have Balance. Balance is when it is cast, each player looks at the lands that they have and chooses from amongst them a number of lands equal to the player who has the lowest amount of lands. So if everybody has lands, the person with the lowest amount of lands has, let's say, 5 of them. You choose 5 lands from amongst your lands that you have. Everybody gets down to that number of 5, sacrifices the rest. Then people do the same for hands, discarding cards, and creatures, sacrificing creatures. So, lowest amount of lands, everybody's going to have that. Whatever player has the lowest amount of cards in hands, everybody's going to have that. Whatever player has the lowest amount of creatures, everybody's going to have that. It balances everything. Berserk. This can only be played before the combat damage step occurs. Target creature gets plus trample and plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is his power. I'm doubling this creature's power. At the beginning of the next end step, if the creature that was affected by Berserk attack during the course of this turn, destroy it. So I could Berserk something to prevent it from attacking, or if something's attacking me, I could Berserk it to, of course, get it killed. Maybe I could absorb the attack from it. Or I could put Berserk on something of my creatures to make it big and strong, and then it would die afterwards. Well, it's destroyed, so you can always regenerate it. So Berserk has some pretty good uses. And it's only 1 green. Channel. Until end of turn, whenever you could activate a mana ability, you could pay 1 life to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. That's it. Simple as that. This was part of a 3-card combo from back in Unlimited. Channel, Fireball, Black Lotus. Well, 4 card technically, and 1 land. There you go. It was a first turn kill if you could get all those cards in your hand. Gifts Ungiven. Search your library for up to 4 cards, each with a different name, and reveal them. So that's the important fact here. 4 cards, different names. Target opponent chooses 2 of these cards, and those 2 cards go into your graveyard. The rest of the cards go into your hand. So this is an interesting way of getting out. Well, you're going to grab 4 cards, but you're really only going to get 2 of them. But that's why you plan out for 4 really good cards. So yeah, okay, I lose 2. But the other 2, I still have. And in my hand. Gifts Ungiven. Goblin Lackey. Whenever Goblin Lackey deals damage to a player, you may put a Goblin card from your hand onto the battlefield. Basically, I figure out a way of having this thing deal damage to people. I get Goblin cards from my hand into play. And it's just damage. It's not combat damage. Meaning I could do this with some kind of Timmy-based effect, giving it to that. Curd Ape. For 1 red mana, it's a 1/1, but it gets +1/+2 as long as you control a forest. So for 1 mana, you can have a 2/3. Granted, this is a second turn, but still. If I had 2 Curd Apes, a mountain, a forest in my opening hand, second turn I have 2 2/3s. It's powerful. Is it super great? But it's pretty powerful. Hence why I ended up in here. Lotus Petal. It's a 0 mana artifact you could play. So put it out for free. Tap, sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So effectively, it is a lesser version of Black Lotus. That's why it kind of got restricted. It's 1 mana Black Lotus is the easiest way to describe it. Mystic Tutor. Search your library for instance or sorcery, reveal that card, shuffle your library, and then put that card on top of your library. So I basically can search for any instant or sorcery very effectively, and then it ends up at the top of my library. Either then if I have card draw, I get it, or my next turn I get it. And since it's an instant, I could play this at the end of my opponent's turn, so I get this right away in my next turn. Necropotence. Skip your draw step. Whenever you would discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard instead. So, discarding cards, things get exiled. Pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put those cards you exiled into your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So I can just pay life, exile a bunch of cards, and then, beginning of my next end step, they end up in my hand. I could easily just draw a whole bunch of cards for a whole bunch of life. Granted, I don't get that initial draw step, but still. Sensei's Divining Top. For 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order. Okay, that's pretty powerful. I can basically just pay 1 mana to rearrange the top 3 cards of my library. Its other ability. Tap. Draw a card. Then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. So, effectively, I could then draw the next turn. Oh, look what I can do. Play it. Rearrange. Switch. Play it. Rearrange. Switch. Every turn, and I get it back the next turn. Sensei's Divining Top. Senrim Efreet. A 3/4 flyer for 3 mana, 2 colorless and a blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to you. Interesting little one. Skull Clamp. An equipment with Equip 1. Equipped creature gets +1, -1. When equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. Herein lies the grossness of Skull Clamp. I put it on a 1/1 creature. Guess what? Dies instantaneously. I draw 2 cards. I could just murder off my own creatures using Skull Clamp and get cards. Strip Mine! Tap. Add 1 colorless mana in your mana pool. Tap. Sacrifice it. Destroy target land. So I can trade Strip Mine for another land. Strip Mine. It's a classic land destruction land. Tinker. Tinker has an additional cost to its casting of sacrificing an artifact. But then I search my library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle my library afterwards. With this, I could just get rid of an artifact token for one of my more expensive artifacts out and play. Tinker is very powerful when it comes to artifact decks. And finally, Trinity Spear. While Trinity Spear is untapped, if a spell would cost less than 3 mana, it costs 3 mana. What this means is, a good example, if I'm casting a spell that would normally cast black mana, but it's being affected by Trinity Spear, single black mana, it would cost me 2 colorless and a black. And because this could be paid in colorless or colored mana, it doesn't matter. It just means it has an extra mana cost of from 1 to 2, depending on how much mana cost it is. It ends up having converted mana cost of 3. It's normal mana cost plus whatever else to pay for it. But that's it for today. So this was a very interesting one, because this was a set of cards that were banned and restricted. It's things that aren't looked at being reprinted ever again. So that's the thing, is these aren't cards that are said, oh, we'll never print these again. They have plenty of those. These were cards that were like, we're not using these in certain formats because of their power level. But we are seeing 15 of them being introduced to us, at least brought back to us. And of course, at the time period, these were banned and restricted. Some of them might have still been restricted, but at the time period, I'm pretty sure that none of them were at least banned in certain formats. Again, format to format does change. Legacy and Vintage, they have very different varieties when it comes to banned and restricted. You'll have to look at them to get a real idea. But these were definitely cards that were interesting, and many of them have very powerful effects, and have very great uses. They were all printed right here together. But I hope you're having a great day. If you had any interesting decks that used any of these cards in your major mechanics, let me know in the comments below. Love to hear about your Magic the Gathering decks. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.